It was a quiet morning in a small village. The sun was just rising, and the birds were singing. A boy named Ravi woke up early. He lived in a small house at the edge of the village, with no one but his best friend, a loyal dog named Sheru. Ravi was only 12 years old. He had no mother, no father, only Sheru. His father had passed away 2 years ago, and since then, life had been hard. But Ravi was strong. He didn't complain. Every morning, he went to school. Every evening, he helped the old man at the tea shop to earn some money. And at night, he talked to Sheru like a brother. On this special morning, something unexpected happened. As Ravi opened the wooden door of his house, he saw a man standing outside. The man was holding a small brown box. "This is for you," the man said, "from your father." Ravi's hands shook as he took the box. "From my father?" he asked, his voice soft. The man didn't say much. He only smiled and walked away. Ravi sat on the floor with Sheru beside him. His heart was beating fast. He slowly opened the box. Inside was a small letter and a silver chain. The letter was written in his father's handwriting. "Dear Ravi, if you are reading this, I am no longer with you. This chain belonged to your grandfather. It is very special. Keep it safe. It will remind you that you are strong and never alone. Love, Papa." Ravi held the chain close to his chest. Tears came into his eyes, but he didn't cry loudly. He just hugged Sheru and whispered, "He didn't forget me." Sheru licked his face, wagging his tail. The dog didn't understand the words, but he felt the emotion. He stayed close to Ravi all day. That night, something terrible happened. It was very late. The sky was dark. Ravi and Sheru were fast asleep. The small box with the chain was placed near Ravi's pillow. But someone was watching. Someone who had seen the man give Ravi the box. The thief. The thief moved like a shadow. Quiet, cold, heartless. He opened the door slowly. It made a small sound. Sheru's ears moved. He growled softly in his sleep, but didn't wake up. The thief came closer. His eyes were on the box. Suddenly, Sheru jumped up. "Grrr." The dog barked loudly, waking Ravi, but it was too late. The thief grabbed the box and ran out of the house. "No!" Ravi shouted. He ran after him, but the man was too fast. The darkness swallowed him. Sheru ran too, barking, chasing the smell. But the thief had already disappeared into the night. Ravi stood outside, barefoot, shaking. The night was cold, but not colder than the pain in his heart. "He stole it. He stole Papa's chain," Ravi whispered. Sheru came back, tail down, nose sniffing the ground. He whined softly and looked up at Ravi. But something was different in Sheru's eyes now. He had seen the thief. He had smelled him. He would not forget. That night, Ravi could not sleep. He stared at the ceiling. He didn't cry anymore. His tears were gone. Only one thing stayed inside him now, a deep, silent pain. Sheru sat beside him, watching the door, watching the dark, waiting. The next morning, Ravi did not go to school. He packed a small bag with some food and water. He tied a cloth around his head. He looked at Sheru and said, "Let's go." Sheru barked once, low and ready. "Whoever stole that chain," Ravi said, "chose the wrong boy." He paused. "And the wrong dog." They stepped out of the house. The sun was rising again. But today, something had changed. The boy was not just a boy anymore. The dog was not just a pet. Together, they had become something else, a team. A team ready to find the thief. A team ready to fight for what mattered. This was not just about a silver chain. It was about love, memory, and a promise made by a father. And that promise would not be broken. The morning was quiet again, but not in the same way. Ravi and Sheru walked through the village streets. People saw them and asked, "Where are you going, Ravi?" Ravi didn't stop. He just said to find something that was stolen. No one knew what he meant, but Sheru understood. His nose was low to the ground. His tail was still. His ears moved with every small sound. This wasn't just a walk. It was a mission. Sheru was not an ordinary dog. He had been with Ravi since he was a small puppy. Ravi had saved him from a river during a flood. From that day, they never left each other's side. Sheru had seen Ravi cry when his father died. He had seen him sleep hungry. He had watched him study under a broken streetlight. And now, he had seen something taken that could never be replaced. But dogs remember. They remember kindness. They remember pain. And they remember faces. Sheru could still see the thief in his mind. Tall, dark coat, dirty shoes, and a smell of something strange. Smoke and sweat. Sheru sniffed the air again. He walked ahead of Ravi, slow but sure. They followed a narrow path outside the village. Trees on both sides. No sounds, only wind. Ravi didn't speak. He just followed Sheru. After an hour, they reached a small field. Sheru stopped. He sniffed the ground, his nose moving in circles. Then he barked. "Did you find something?" Ravi asked. Sheru started digging the dirt with his paws. Soon, he pulled out something small, a piece of cloth. It was part of a black glove. Ravi picked it up. "This is his," he whispered. Suddenly, they heard a voice behind them. "You shouldn't be here." Ravi turned around. An old man stood there, holding a stick. His eyes were sharp. "We're looking for someone," Ravi said carefully. The old man walked closer and looked at Sheru. Then he said, "You're not the first ones." "What do you mean?" The old man pointed to the forest. "That path, it hides many secrets. Bad people come from there. They steal, they disappear. You should go back." Ravi looked at the forest. It was dark, thick with trees. "Did you see a man?" Ravi asked. "Tall, black coat, maybe holding a box." The old man was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. "He passed here last night. Fast, like a ghost." Sheru growled softly. "He took something from me," Ravi said. "It was from my father. I want it back." The old man sighed. "I lost something too. My son never returned from that forest." Ravi lowered his head. "I'm sorry." "Just be careful," the man said. "Some things in there are worse than thieves." Sheru barked once. His nose was pointed straight into the forest. He was ready. So was Ravi. They walked into the trees. The sunlight faded. The air grew cold. But Ravi's heart was burning. Sheru's mind was focused. A few steps in, Sheru stopped again. Another clue. This time, it was a piece of paper stuck to a thorn. Ravi pulled it off. It was torn, but it had something written on it. "Sell to the man in the city. Fast money." Ravi's eyes widened. He's going to sell it. Sheru barked louder this time. His body was tense. He was ready to run. But Ravi placed a hand on his head. "Wait, we'll go together." They came out of the forest on the other side. Ahead, the dirt road turned into a bigger path, the one that led to the city. The city was far, but not too far for two determined hearts. Ravi looked at the sky. He whispered, "Papa, I won't let your gift be sold. I promise." Sheru looked up at him. And in that moment, they both understood one thing. They would not stop. Not until the chain was back. Not until the thief was found. And not until justice was done. The city was still far, but Ravi and Sheru kept walking. Their feet were tired. Their legs ached. But they didn't stop. The road was dry and dusty. Trucks passed them, leaving clouds of dirt behind. Ravi covered his face with a cloth. Sheru squinted his eyes but stayed close to Ravi's feet. Every few minutes, Sheru sniffed the ground. He was searching, following the smell of the thief. They passed a broken signboard that said, Welcome to Nagpur City, 4 kilometers ahead. Ravi felt a strange fear in his chest. The village was small and quiet. But the city, big, loud, full of strangers. He looked at Sheru. Are you sure he went this way? Sheru barked once. Strong, confident. Ravi nodded. Then we go. Soon, they entered the edge of the city. The noise hit them like a wave. Cars honking, people shouting, music playing from shops. Ravi held Sheru's rope tighter. He didn't want to lose him in the crowd. They passed street sellers, fruit carts, and auto rickshaws. The smell of food was strong, spicy and oily. Ravi's stomach growled, but he didn't stop. They reached a quiet alley. Suddenly, Sheru froze. He sniffed the ground, then the wall, then he growled. What is it? Ravi whispered. Sheru moved fast. He ran to a corner where a pile of garbage bags lay. He pulled out something with his teeth. It was a torn piece of black cloth. Ravi picked it up. This is the same material as the thief's coat. Then he saw something else, a small business card stuck under the cloth. Ravi read the name out loud. Bobby's Pawn Shop. We buy everything. On the back, someone had written in pencil, coming tonight, silver chain. Be ready. Ravi's hand shook. He's going to sell it here. Sheru barked. They now had their first real clue. Ravi looked around. Let's find this shop. They asked a tea seller nearby. Do you know where Bobby's Pawn Shop is? The man laughed. Of course. But be careful, boy. That place is not for kids. Why? It's in the old part of the city. Thieves go there to sell stolen things. The police don't go near it. Ravi felt fear, but also fire. We have to go. The tea seller pointed down a narrow road. Go straight, then turn left after the old temple. You'll see a red door. Ravi thanked him and started walking. The streets became quieter again. Old buildings stood on both sides. Cracked walls, broken windows, faded paint. Sheru stayed alert. Every sound made his ears twitch. They turned left and saw the red door. It was small and rusted. A sign above it read, Bobby's. Ravi's heart beat faster. He hid behind a wall and whispered, We wait here. The sky was turning orange. Evening was coming. Suddenly, a young boy, maybe 14 years old, came from the side and stood near the door. He looked like a street kid, dirty clothes, messy hair. Ravi looked at him. The boy looked back. What do you want? He asked. Ravi said, I'm looking for a man. He stole something from me. The street boy laughed. Lots of thieves come here. What did he take? A silver chain. It belonged to my father. The boy's smile faded. Ravi continued. He had a black coat, smelled like smoke. He might come tonight. The boy was quiet. Then he said, I saw someone like that this morning. He gave something to Bobby and said he'd return tonight with more. Maybe that's your man. Ravi stepped forward. Can you help me? The boy looked at Sheru, then back at Ravi. I don't help strangers, but I hate thieves. He thought for a moment, then said, Come back here after dark. I'll show you the way in. But be quiet, and don't get caught. Ravi nodded. The boy disappeared into the shadows. Ravi looked at Sheru. This is it. Sheru wagged his tail once. He was ready. They found a small corner near the shop to hide and wait. As the sky turned dark, the city lights flickered on. Ravi didn't feel tired anymore. He didn't feel hungry. He felt ready. The chain was close. So was the thief. But something in his heart whispered, the next step will not be easy. The city was glowing with yellow lights. The streets were full of noise. But in the old part of town, near Bobby's pawn shop, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Ravi and Sheru sat hidden behind a broken wall. The red door of the pawn shop stood a few steps away. Ravi's eyes didn't blink. Sheru didn't move. They were waiting. After an hour, footsteps echoed in the narrow lane. Sheru growled softly. A man appeared, tall and thin, wearing a long black coat. He looked around, then knocked on the red door. Ravi held his breath. The door opened halfway. A man with gold chains around his neck peeked out. He looked at the visitor and nodded. "You're late," he said. The thief stepped inside. The door closed. Ravi jumped up, ready to follow, but a hand pulled him back. It was the street boy from earlier. "Not yet," he whispered. "Wait." Ravi whispered back, "That's him. That's the thief. I know. I saw his face clearly this morning." Sheru sniffed the ground. His body was stiff. His eyes were full of fire. The boy pointed to a side alley. "There's a back window. We can see what they're doing." Ravi followed him. Sheru stayed close, moving like a silent shadow. They'd reached the back of the building. The window was dirty, but open a little. Ravi stood on a box and peeked inside. There he was. The thief stood in the middle of the room, speaking to Badi, the shop owner. Ravi could hear their voices through the broken window. "Where's the chain?" Badi asked. The thief pulled it from his pocket. The silver chain shone under the yellow light. Ravi's hands tightened into fists. "It's real silver," the thief said. "Old design. Must be expensive." Badi held it close to his eyes. "I'll give you 500 for it." "Only 500? The thief asked. "It's worth more. You want money or not?" The thief paused, then nodded. "Fine." Badi took out a bundle of cash and threw it on the table. Ravi whispered, "He's selling my father's chain. For just 500 rupees. Sheru let out a low growl. The boy next to Ravi whispered, "We can't just watch. What's your plan?" Ravi didn't answer. He was thinking fast. Inside the shop, Bobby had placed the chain in a small drawer under the counter. The thief took the money and walked toward the door. Ravi quickly jumped down. "He's leaving," he whispered. Sheru barked once, not loud, but sharp. The red door opened again. The thief stepped out. Ravi froze. The man didn't see him. He turned the other way and walked down the dark street, counting the money in his hand. Sheru followed slowly, but Ravi didn't care about the money. He wanted the chain, and it was still inside. Ravi turned to the street boy. "Can you distract the shopkeeper?" The boy smiled. "Easy." He ran to the front and started banging on the door, shouting, "Help! Help! My brother is hurt. Please open." Inside, Bobby got up confused. He opened the door to look outside. That was Ravi's chance. He climbed through the window with Sheru beside him. Inside the shop, the drawer was right there. Ravi opened it slowly. The chain was inside. He grabbed it. And just then, Bobby turned around. "Hey, what are you doing?" Sheru barked loudly. Ravi ran. Through the back door, down the alley. Bobby shouted, "Thief, stop him." Ravi didn't stop. He ran faster than he ever had before. Sheru ran beside him. Behind them, Bobby screamed, but no one followed. No one dared chase a boy with a dog that looked ready to fight. They didn't stop until they reached the end of the street. Ravi bent down, breathing hard. His hands were shaking, but in them he held the chain. "It's back," he whispered. "Papa's chain is back." Sheru barked once, then licked Ravi's hand. But something was wrong. The chain was broken. One side was snapped. Ravi looked at it, heart sinking. He broke it. Sheru growled low. "This isn't over," Ravi said. "He still has to pay." He looked back toward the dark city streets. And in the shadows, something moved. A face, watching them. The thief hadn't left. He had seen everything. And now, he wanted revenge. Ravi sat under an old tree outside the city. The stars above were shining. but his heart was heavy. He held the silver chain in his hands. It was his father's last gift. It was back, but now it was broken. Sheru sat beside him, quiet and alert. His eyes kept scanning the road behind them. They had run far, but Ravi knew they were not safe yet. Somewhere in the dark, the thief was watching. Sheru had smelled him. Ravi felt it too. The street boy who had helped earlier came running toward them. "I saw him," the boy whispered. "He followed you. He's angry." Ravi looked up. "What does he want now?" "He says you stole his money. He told some street men you're a thief." "He's lying." But they believe him. Ravi's face turned pale. "They'll come for you," the boy said. "You should leave now." Ravi stood up slowly. "I didn't take the money. I just took what was mine." "I know," said the boy, "but people here don't care. They only believe the strongest voice." Ravi looked at Sheru. "Then we won't hide." Sheru growled softly, ready to protect. The boy hesitated. "He's planning something," he said. "Tonight, he'll finish this." Ravi's voice became calm. "Let him come. I'm not afraid anymore." The boy nodded and left. Ravi looked at the broken chain again. He tied it around his wrist. "It may be broken," he whispered, "but it's still mine." Suddenly, Sheru barked once, loud and sharp. Then silence. Ravi turned. 4 figures were walking down the road toward them. The thief was in front. Behind him were 3 tall boys, older, stronger. Each of them carried sticks. Ravi stood still. The thief stopped a few steps away. He pointed at Ravi. "That's the boy," he said. "He stole from me." "I stole nothing," Ravi replied. "You took my chain. I took it back." One of the men laughed. "We don't care. He paid us to teach you a lesson." Sheru stepped forward, growling. His teeth were bared. The man raised his stick. But before he could move, Sheru jumped. "Grrr, woof." He bit the stick, snapped it in half, and stood in front of Ravi like a soldier. The men stepped back. "This dog is crazy," one of them shouted. The thief yelled, "Hit him. Hit the boy." But Sheru was faster. He barked again, louder this time, and ran in circles around the men, biting at their legs, forcing them to move back. In the confusion, Ravi grabbed a small rock and shouted, "Go away. This is your last warning." The thief rushed at him with a stick. Ravi ducked, and Sheru leaped forward. His teeth sank into the thief's coat, pulling him down. The thief screamed, "Get him off! Get him off!" The others tried to help, but Sheru didn't let go. Then, police whistles. Lights flashed. Someone had called the police. The men froze. 2 policemen ran toward them. "What's happening here?" one of them shouted. The thief tried to run, but Ravi shouted, "Stop him. He stole from me." The police caught him. Sheru let go and stepped back, still growling. Ravi showed the broken chain to the officer. "It was my father's. He stole it. He tried to sell it." The officer looked at the thief. "We've seen him before. You're going to jail this time." The thief's face turned white. He tried to speak, but no words came. The officers took him away, along with the others. One officer looked at Ravi. "You're brave. Not many boys your age stand like that." Ravi didn't smile. He just looked at the chain. "It's all I had left of him," he said softly. "I couldn't lose it." Sheru sat beside him, breathing hard but proud. The officer said gently, "Come to the station tomorrow. We'll help fix the chain." Ravi nodded. When the police left, Ravi and Sheru sat again under the tree. The night was quiet now. The danger was gone, but something had changed in Ravi's heart. He felt stronger. He looked at Sheru. "You saved me," he whispered. Sheru wagged his tail. They looked up at the stars again. This time, Ravi felt peace. But far away, in the city shadows, Someone else was watching. Not the thief. Someone different. Someone worse. And they had seen everything. The morning sun rose slowly over the city. Ravi walked with Sheru beside him. The silver chain, though broken, was tied safely inside his pocket. People passed them on the street, but Ravi was lost in thought. The thief was gone. Justice had been done. But deep in his heart, Ravi felt something strange. Like it wasn't over yet. Like someone else was watching. Sheru walked quietly, but his nose twitched more than usual. His eyes scanned the corners. His ears picked up every sound. They were going to the police station, as the officer had asked. The building was small, with peeling paint and old chairs, but the officers were kind. One of them smiled when he saw Ravi. "You came. Good," he said. "Let me see the chain." Ravi took it out. The officer looked at it and said, "We'll send this to the jeweler. He'll fix it properly. No charge." "Thank you," Ravi said softly. While they waited, the officer brought tea and biscuits. Sheru sat under the desk, calm but alert. Suddenly, a door opened. A tall man stepped in. He wore a dark gray suit and sunglasses. His face was serious. But one thing stood out. A long, deep scar ran from his forehead to his cheek. The officer stood quickly. "Inspector Malik, sir." Ravi looked at the man with the scar. The man looked back. He didn't smile. He didn't blink. He just stared. The inspector walked closer. "This is the boy?" he asked. "Yes, sir," the officer said. "He caught the thief, brought back the stolen chain." Inspector Malik nodded slowly. Then he spoke directly to Ravi. "Do you know who that thief works for?" Ravi shook his head. "He's part of a gang. A big one. They steal, sell, and sometimes hurt people." Ravi felt a chill in his chest. "They must be angry now," the inspector continued. "You embarrassed them." "I just wanted my chain back," Ravi said. "I understand. But now, they might want revenge." Sheru growled quietly. The inspector looked down at him. "Your dog is smart. Keep him close." Then he took out a card and handed it to Ravi. "If anything strange happens, call me. Anytime." Ravi nodded. The inspector turned to leave, then stopped. "One more thing," he said. He leaned closer to Ravi. "That thief you caught, he's scared of someone. A man. He never says his name. Only that he has a scar." Ravi's eyes widened. The inspector smiled for the first time, but it wasn't a happy smile. Then he walked out. Ravi stood frozen for a moment. Sheru barked once. "What is happening, Sheru?" Ravi whispered. This was just about a chain. But now, the officer came back with the chain in a small box. "It will be ready in 2 days," he said. Ravi thanked him and left the station. But the feeling in his chest didn't go away. They walked toward the bus stop. The city streets were busy, full of people, but Ravi felt alone in the crowd. Suddenly, Sheru stopped. His nose pointed toward a man across the road. The man was staring. He wore a black hat, dark glasses, and a long coat. Then, he smiled, and slowly lifted his hand. He pointed a single finger at Ravi, then turned and disappeared into the alley. Ravi ran to the spot, but the man was gone. Only one thing was left behind, a matchbox. Ravi picked it up. It was from a hotel in the city, Hotel Sunrise, room 107. He looked at Sheru. Was that him? Sheru sniffed the ground, then barked. "Yes," Ravi whispered. It was him, the man with the scar. But why leave a clue? Was it a warning? Or a trap? Ravi held the matchbox tightly in his fist. "Let's go," he said to Sheru. "We need to find out who this man really is." They walked away, not knowing that from the rooftop above them, someone was still watching, his face hidden. But his scar, shining in the sun. The sky turned gray. Clouds gathered like a warning. Ravi stood in front of Hotel Sunrise. It was old, with dirty windows and broken lights. Room 107 was written on the matchbox left by the man with the scar. Sheru stood beside him, alert as ever. "Are you ready?" Ravi whispered. Sheru barked once, soft but firm. They entered the hotel. The lobby was empty. A sleepy man sat behind the desk. He didn't even look up. Ravi walked quietly down the hall. Room numbers passed by. 101, 103, 105, 107. They stopped. Ravi raised his hand to knock. But before he could, the door creaked open. It was already unlocked. Sheru growled. They stepped inside. The room was dark. Curtains were closed. A fan spun slowly above. No one was there. Or so it seemed. Then Ravi saw it. On the bed was a box. A small black box with a note beside it. He picked up the note. "You are brave, but not smart. Come find me if you want the truth." No name, just an address. It was a warehouse on the edge of the city. Ravi's hands shook. The game wasn't over. It was just beginning. He looked at Sheru. "Let's finish this." They reached the warehouse just before sunset. It was huge. An old metal building with broken windows and rusted doors. The place smelled of oil and smoke. Sheru sniffed the air. His fur stood up. Ravi pushed the door open. The inside was quiet. Too quiet. Boxes and metal barrels were everywhere. Then a voice echoed through the air. "You should have stayed home, boy." Ravi turned. There he was, the man with the scar, standing on a metal walkway above them, looking down. "You've caused me trouble," the man said. "First the chain, then the thief. Now here you are." Ravi shouted, "Why? Why did you want the chain?" The man laughed. "That chain is more than silver. It holds a secret." "What secret?" The man stepped closer. "Your father knew something. Something he never told anyone. I want it. And I think he left it inside the chain." Ravi's eyes widened. All this wasn't about money. It was about a secret. The man continued, "But you ruined everything. You got in the way. And now." He pulled out a small gun. "I'll take it from you myself." Sheru barked wildly. Ravi stepped back. "No," he said, "you won't." The man jumped down from the walkway, landing hard. He raised the gun, but Sheru was faster. He leaped through the air and knocked the weapon from the man's hand. It hit the floor and slid away. The man shouted and punched Sheru hard. Sheru fell with a whimper. "No," Ravi screamed. The man turned to Ravi. "Give me the chain." Ravi reached into his pocket. He pulled it out, but his eyes were on the gun. The man rushed forward. Ravi threw the chain far behind him, into a pile of boxes. The man turned to get it, and Ravi ran for the gun. He grabbed it first. "Stop," he shouted. "Don't move." The man froze, then smiled. "You don't have the guts." Ravi's hands were shaking. He didn't want to shoot. He didn't want to be like the thief. But he wanted to protect what was right. Behind him, Sheru slowly stood again, growling. The man took one step forward. Sheru barked, louder than ever. And the warehouse doors burst open. Police. Guns raised. Lights flashing. "Drop it," they shouted. The man with the scar raised his hands. Inspector Malik walked in. "Good job, kid. You led us right to him." The man growled. "You followed me." "We followed Ravi," Malik said. "He's braver than you'll ever be." The officers took the man away. Ravi dropped the gun and ran to Sheru. Sheru wagged his tail weakly. Ravi hugged him tight. 2 days later, the jeweler returned the chain, fixed, polished, shining. Inside the tiny silver locket was something hidden. A piece of paper. A map. And on that map, something marked with a red X. Ravi smiled. His father had left more than just a gift. He had left a mystery, and Ravi was ready, with Shuru by his side. Because now he knew, sometimes one chain can change everything, and courage comes in small, quiet steps.